Data shows that Winnipeggers lost on average almost 4 days or 94 hours in traffic last year. The data also highlights that a 10-kilometre trip took an average of 24 to 26 minutes, and evening commutes are the most congested. CBC's Jim Agapito spoke to a couple of Winnipeg drivers about how they feel about these stats.
This is Cheryl Gable.
According to the TomTom traffic index, Winnipeg is the sixth most traffic congested city in Canada. So it says that Winnipeg spent an average of 94 hours, which is almost 4 days, last year in traffic. When you hear that, how do you feel?
Well, I work and live close to here, and so I don't really get stuck in that traffic. And I think, geez, where are you people living and traveling to? So I don't see that traffic, I guess. Maybe on the weekends, going shopping out at other places, there's some traffic. But I mean, we live in Winnipeg. It's okay.
Angelo Gabriel. I believe it's true. Yeah.
Why do you believe it's true?
Well, usually there's a lot of construction, so you're kind of stuck in traffic, and I think a lot of people got to learn how to start zipper merging.
So you think that that's contributes to the problem?
Yeah.
If you were to get those hours back, what would you do with them?
If I were to get those hours back, I'd probably spend more time out at my trailer in the summer or something for 4 days.
Do these results surprise you at all?
They do, because as I said, I don't see that the traffic is really that bad.
I'd spend a lot of time with my grandkids. Yeah. Yeah, they love to visit, right? So the more I'm home, the more I get to see them.
Couple people weighing in with CBC's Jim Agapito about how they feel about spending an average of 94 hours, nearly 4 days in traffic last year, though, of course, one of those commuters says she doesn't really see quite that. Let's talk about the stats. Bahir Abdulhai is with us, professor of civil and mineral engineering over at the University of Toronto, with an expertise in traffic management. Good morning.
Good morning.
So what stands out to you hearing Winnipeg ranked sixth most congested city in Canada?
First of all, welcome to the club of most congested cities in Canada. In Toronto here, we've been holding the trophy for quite some time. Actually, congestion is spreading all over the world. It's like a plague, pretty much. All cities are bound to experience congestion. It's just a matter of when. I'm a bit surprised that given the smaller size of Winnipeg, that you made it up the list that far. But congestion is very simple to explain. It's hard to tackle. When you have too many cars for the available road space, then simply we call this demand exceeding road capacity, then you have congestion.
Yeah. I love your welcome to the club because we have not been part of this club. We would brag here, we're the city that you can live in and not worry about being stuck in traffic. People would often say, I grew up here, so I know that people would often say you can get anywhere in 20 minutes in Winnipeg, across the city anywhere. Doesn't seem to be the case. The report found Winnipeg is more congested, though, than other bigger cities like Calgary. So what sense do you make of that?
Well, again, it's a ratio of how many cars you have for the available space. So if the number of cars exceeds or the available space, then you'll have congestion. So it could be smaller in size, but you have less infrastructure and therefore will be more congested. So when you look at the root causes of congestion, they are simple to understand. You have population growth and persistence car dependence. We plan our cities in a way that you have to drive. So demand for road space keeps increasing, while the infrastructure, the roads in particular, and of course transit infrastructure, are not keeping up with the increase in population. So therefore, congestion keeps increasing. Now, add to that what we technically call capacity breakdown, meaning that when we fight for space, like if you're merging on the freeway, and we heard one of the guests today talking about zipper effect, that when people fight for space, they create turbulence, and that reduces the capacity of the system even further. Or when people block intersections, for instance, and fight who gets into the intersection first, then that deteriorates capacity even further. And then, of course, if you have incidents, like you talked about fire and or construction, then that limits capacity even further and exacerbates congestion.
It's interesting because the data looks at a lost average of 94 hours stuck in traffic last year. In bigger cities like Toronto, the average loss is 100 hours lost in traffic last year, which I think was quite surprising. It might surprise a lot of Winnipeggers. What does that tell us about how the city functions day to day? Like, are you better off to solve this by, as you've been alluding a couple of times, you just don't have the capacity infrastructure-wise. Are you better off to improve your transit system, to divert people, to use green, get on their bikes and such, active transportation? Or do you just have to build better networks in your core?
Well, you have three ways to tackle congestion. Either reduce demand, reduce the number of cars, or increase capacity, or use intelligence. So let's briefly talk about each one of them. If you want to build capacity, what's the downside of that? It's billions of dollars, and it takes decades to do that, but it's inevitable. So if we are building capacity, we're definitely much better off building public transit capacity as opposed to road capacity, because if you build more roads, then you're cementing people in their cars and enforcing the behavior of I drive everywhere, and nobody will take transit. So if people start carpooling, for instance, if every two drivers leave a car behind and join in one car, that's 50% less cars on the road. And the ultimate carpooling device ever created is a bus or a LRT or subway. So definitely we need to build capacity in the form of transit, encourage people to use it, give them disincentive to drive, like for instance, congestion pricing. So that's all of this, or telecommute. If you telecommute, then again, you're not in a car on the road. All of these things reduce the demand and increase the capacity. There is also, you can use artificial intelligence, for example, that I'm sure you got stuck at a traffic light somewhere and you're wondering, why is it so dumb? It's keeps repeating the same thing and does not adapt to fluctuations in traffic. Sometimes you get red, and the other side, there are no cars. For this, we're using artificial intelligence to kind of make a traffic light like a robot, in a sense that it has eyes and it has a brain. And as it sees traffic approaching from different directions, it thinks on its tippy toes and serves traffic in an agile manner that could reduce your wait time at intersections by 30-40%.
Okay, and just to interject here, that's different than on Portage Avenue. If people are thinking about it, they made a big thing about the fact that our lights are coordinated. They'd all go green at the same time, so you keep moving. But you're talking about more responsiveness. It's, no one's around, you're sitting at a red light, why am I sitting here? You wouldn't have that. You just keep moving because it would sense that.
Yes, so exactly. This is like having a very smart cop at an intersection and looking at what is coming in real time and adjusting which direction to serve. But it's just robotic in that sense.
Can I ask you about a Winnipeg sort of focused question? Toronto obviously has a core center and then has a whole bunch of suburbs. So people are coming in and out on the 401. Winnipeg, we're very much going right across our city, all of the traffic at all times. So we also have, a lot of suburbs ringing us, and then a center that we try to get to. Is LRT more effective than transit? But if you look at other cities comparable to our size, how does one make that decision of if that's going to be more effective?
Well, LRT is transit, so there are different levels of transit. You can have higher order transit commuter rail, like GO Transit in the Greater Toronto area, for instance. This is a very high capacity. You're talking about a train carrying 1,000 people or so. Also, you can talk about subway, which is very fast, unobstructed by traffic, and high capacity as well. But these are the gold standards and are expensive. I'm not sure if they are justified in Winnipeg yet. Lower a little bit is light rail transit. And cities of your size, look at Waterloo, for instance, they are building LRT. So that should be looked into seriously in Winnipeg. And of course, bus rapid transit, like in Ottawa, where you have dedicated routes with no traffic for buses. The idea is to make transit much higher capacity and much faster.
And we do have bus rapid transit in the works here. It's just that some argue that we're still not filled out with all of the routes, right? It's taking a long time. Thank you very much for weighing in on this study with us. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
That is live with us on Zoom, Beher Abdulhai, professor of civil and mineral engineering over at the University of Toronto with an expertise in traffic management.